Well, comprehension is simply understanding what you read, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess I would also check what is their listening comprehension, because, those things can be tied together, but they're not always. Some people can listen and take it all in, but they just can't read it. And if that's the case, it's probably a fluency issue. But as far as a comprehension for somebody who's fluent, there are some strategies. So the first thing I would say is narration or summarizing is a good, both an assessment and a strategy, because you don't know if they don't comprehend it, if you don't know what they think that they heard. And so if you have if you have a curriculum where your child is having to answer questions and they're getting the questions wrong a lot of the times, there could be a variety of reasons for that. But you want to tease out, what are they really getting? So they should be able to summarize what they read. If they can't, then there can be a variety of reasons why. So the one thing that good readers do. So there's a few things that we say, this is what good readers do. So their comprehension strategies. One is basically making a movie in your mind. So even if you've been reading for a long time and you're a really good reader, you probably are even unaware that you do this. But if you think about it, if you've read a book or if you've just read something and it talks about a person in there, you probably create a mental picture of that person. Have you ever gone to a movie and you're like, no, they're not supposed to look like that if you've read the book? Okay. Yeah. So that it means that you've been making pictures in your mind, and you're probably picturing things that are not necessarily, like, for instance, I have a student that I'm working with who is on the autism spectrum. So when I've asked him, I first asked him to start picturing things. I say, how do you picture this? How do you picture that person? How do you picture? He was picturing everything exactly like it was in his world. So like the kitchen in this one passage looked like his kitchen, and the mother looked like his mother, and everybody. Okay. But typically, if we're really a mature, good reader, we're going to picture different things for different people. It's not going to be, we're not going to picture somebody in a book in our kitchen, right? So, asking them, what do they picture, can really be an eye opener to you as to what they really have going on. And you can learn that there are concepts that they maybe are totally misguided on and that they have no frame of reference for. Okay.
And that's a good point. Frame of reference is huge in comprehending.
Yes. It is. And so we can call that frame of reference. We can call that background knowledge. Sometimes we have to build the background knowledge for the student. Like if you are pre-reading what they're reading, which I know not everybody has time to do that, but if you're pre-reading what they're reading and you see that there are some things that they won't have any background knowledge on, or not much, or you're not sure, you're going to maybe, let's say it's talking about a certain area of the world, you might want to get out a map and show them where that is, or have them look it up. If there's difficult vocabulary you're pretty sure they don't know, you may want to have them look it up, or you may want to just tell them this is what this means. So, or if there's something, let's say that you're reading a historical fiction and there's something in there, they wouldn't have a clue what that reference is, what that means, because it's no longer relevant in our culture. You may want to set that up for them, because that can really help aid in the comprehension. So those are some things. Good readers make predictions. So when you're saying, when you finish a chapter of a book, and you have to close the book, and you're like, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen yet, but I bet this is what's going to happen, right? That's a prediction. Well, people who have struggled with comprehension don't necessarily make predictions of what's going to happen next. Yes. So then you've got to prompt them. Well, what do you think is going to happen next? And sometimes, and the point is, it's not right or wrong. Good readers make predictions, but we don't always get them right. If we did, why would we read it? Right?
Exactly.
And so, making predictions is is one of those traits of a good reader. And so, it may be, what do you think is going to happen next? Or how do you think so-and-so is going to react when they find out that this happened? Those kinds of things. Another thing that needs to happen, and this can happen even in preschool, is sequencing. So, they have those little sequence cards that you can get for little kids. Put these in order of the way they should happen. And it's like, the person brushing their teeth, and, you've got a different scene on each card or whatever. So that's sequencing. But, as they get older, even, they should be able to tell you back what happened in the right order. And, so that's another thing. Especially when you're looking at nonfiction, main idea and details. So, and this is a really tricky one for a lot of people. So you got to find, what is the main idea of this paragraph? And then what are just the details? So all the details should point to the main idea. So if they come up with a detail being the main idea, you go, okay, so what are all the details? Okay, do all of these tie into that one that you just gave me? And they'll be like, no. Okay, then let's figure out what they can all point to. And that's the main idea. Yeah. Well, I even know women that struggle with that, because I'm a precepts leader. And, when we go into the lessons, I'm like, so what was the main idea? And they're all, they have different answers, and nobody can quite agree. And right. So it's a difficult thing when you deal with a text, especially the Bible. Right. And it's because it's written, in a language that we don't read and then translated. And, So yeah, getting our children to even just understand those simple paragraphs. It's a complex process that it really is. You can almost break down, but it's depending on how the writer writes, you can pull details from different places in the paragraph. There's no set rhyme or reason as to how, you can approach it mathematically or, with some sort of formula. Right. And a lot of people think the main idea is the topic. And, no, not necessarily. The topic might be cars, but, the main idea might be, cars are a type of vehicle. I mean, that's kind of a silly one, but, it could be. And so, finding that main idea and those details, that's really important in nonfiction reading. Yeah. Fact versus opinion is another one. And, getting them, sometimes it's hard for people to know the difference. Especially if it's an opinion they agree with, then they might feel it's a fact. Yes. But probably the biggest, most difficult concept to get, it would be inferences. And so an inference is a conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. So it's not something that's right there in the text. It's something you have got to dig out and come to that conclusion in your own mind of what is going to happen. Like, for example, everybody opened their umbrellas as they walked outside. Okay, well, we can infer that it was raining, right? But it didn't explicitly state it. But obviously when it gets to be a little more higher level, that can be a little more difficult to tease out. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. So we don't, so then even looking for words in the paragraph, it doesn't compute that that's not where the thing that we're looking for, the topic is